for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K,
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TV. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everyone, on this Thursday, July 4th. Marinaro with you, along with Grant McCagg of the Recruits Draftcast podcast and recruits.ca. Grant and I were at Habs Development Camp, day 3. It was earlier today at the CN Complex in Brossard. We'll talk to you about it. But first and foremost, the Sick Podcast, of course, brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Once again, recognized as one of Canada's top fleet employers for the 4th consecutive year. The prestigious accolade underscores their steadfast dedication to fostering a workplace of excellence and opportunity, much in part to their exceptional team for their unwavering commitment and contribution. Energy Transportation Group is a top fleet employer. Also brought to you in part by Bittt, the Tibi. They launched their new Ultra Lager. It's a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer. Perfect for the hot summer days with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, and a 4% ABV per can. Available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light, ultra refreshing, and also brought to you in part by Playground. Experience Playground's world-renowned poker experience with free food and drinks at their cash game tables. A bad beat jackpot that's over $1.1 million in climbing. Weekly promotions, daily tournaments, unmatched customer service. Why play anywhere else? Located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. Playground. And of course, also brought to you by Betway. And Betway is a leading global online betting and gaming brand. Follow your gut instinct. Go with Betway. Go on Betway.com or scan the QR code to join the action. Must be 18 and over and play responsibly. And our NHL draft coverage 2024 was brought to you and presented by Betway when we were in Las Vegas. Grant, it's nice to see you. You and I, once again, were at Habs Development Camp day 3 earlier today. And before we get into it, why don't we bring up the rosters so everyone can be familiar with some of the names that were there at the forward position. Connor Arsenault, Owen Beck, Jules Boilard, Vincent Collard, Philip Eriksson, Felix Gagnon, Michael Hage, Sam Harris, Justin LaRose. Merrill is... what's his first name again? Ben Merrill. That's right. Yeah. Ben Merrill. All right. Okay. And Israel Mianskum, Joshua Nadeau, Charles Savoie, Logan Sawyer, Tyler Thorpe, Florian Xhekaj, and Alexander Zetterberg. Probably be easier if I actually read this. It'll probably go better. Yeah. Yeah. And next up on defense, Rasmus Bergqvist, Matthew Biotti, Francois James Bouteau, Emmanuelson Charbonneau, Francesco Delelce, Luke Mittelstadt, Simon Moteau, Owen Protz, and Branson Wright. And of course, in goal, Emmett Croteau, Jacob Fowler, Conte Miller, and Mikas Vek-Vanix. I've had a really hard time with his name in the last week. Mikas Vek-Vanix. Vek-Vanix. So I think that's the way I think it's pronounced. But anyway, here's your sheet, Grant. All right. What did you look? The first question is the easy one, right? Your first impressions of Michael Hage.
I thought he was the best skater out there, and 18-year-old at a rookie camp or a development camp with a lot of good young prospects. It's pretty impressive that it's the skating that stands out with him right off the bat. He's got great edges, smooth, quick, very good puck skills. You can see that he's very smart and got a really good offensive toolbox. So it was encouraging to see him.
Grant's the first time I've ever had a chance to see him skate live, obviously. And the first thing that caught my attention, how effortless it is. I mean, I almost thought I was watching Michael Matheson play as a forward type of thing. He doesn't skate; he glides.
Yeah,
He just glides on the ice. And look, skating's such a big part of the game, and I imagine it was probably a big part of the equation. I mean, we know that he won the DJ McGuire Award for commitment to excellence and competitiveness and athleticism and character. But they obviously must have loved his skating. It must have been, and nowadays in 2024 in a young man's game, you always IQ is probably always number one on the list, but skating's probably going to have to be number two.
it's up there. Competitiveness, skating, IQ, I think are the three main ones. And
Every time he was out and they were doing 3-on-3 drills, and at one point they were doing 2v2 drills +1. Every time he was out there, he seemed like a young man with a lot of confidence as well. He didn't play safe. He didn't play conservative. He protect the puck well. He would try and get around the opposing player in front of him. He would hold on to the puck and not be worried about holding on to it and losing it. A confident player who I think recognized that he's got something that most other players there don't have. And he said, you know what? I'm just going to be myself.
Yeah. And the drills, a lot of them were in close, they were tight drills. So you had to, it had to demonstrate how quick you were, how quick you are to react, and your stick handling. And I thought he was excellent in all three aspects.
Adam Nicholas is in charge of the Canadiens player development. I mean, he in terms of on ice, of course, he's their player development coach, and he's worked with so many players over the last couple of years. Adam Nicholas is kind of from the same school of Marty St. Louis. I mean, they kind of see hockey the same way. They see hockey development the same way, I believe, because Marty St. Louis has adopted a lot of the similar training sessions, and you see them at Canadiens practice. A lot of 3v3s, a lot of 2v2s, a lot of work done in tight spaces where you have to really think and react. And I got to tell you something, it makes a lot of sense to actually have those drills in the tight spaces the way they do, to have guys think and react better. It's going to improve their IQ.
Absolutely. There were a few kids out there that I think got a real eye-opener. I don't think they'd done drills like that ever in their life. And you could see them shaking their head after a drill or two, and just, because they have to react so quickly. And, I mean, it beats the old development camps that you go to and you'd see them just scrimmage for most of it and, do the old drills that you'd always see at practices and stuff. Yeah. It's nice. It's a nice change to have it a lot different than the old school ones where it was a lot of scrimmaging and, 5-on-5 and all that. No, I really like Nicholas, and I like his approach.
We talked about Michael Hage. Rob Ramage was asked about him. Rob Ramage, of course, is the director of the Montreal Canadiens player development. Let's hear from Rob Ramage right now.
So Michael Hage, what's your thoughts on him being drafted and what you've seen from him?
Yeah, I mean, it's first viewing for me live. I saw a little bit of tape, but pretty smooth. You can see the skill set there. Great release. Very confident out there for a young guy. So, yeah, exciting.
A kid like him looks like, he even said like strength is one of the things he needs to
Absolutely.
University route going to Michigan.
Yeah. 2 games a week. So they have that chance to hit the weight room. It's a great program, obviously. They've put a lot of guys in the NHL, so I think it's a good development path for him.
Do you think you need the whole 4 years, or just a couple of years should be enough for him?
Well, we'll take it 1 year at a time right now.
All right, there you have it. We'll take it 1 year at a time, says Rob Ramage, in terms of how much time he's going to need. So how much time do you think he's going to need?
I think he'll probably do 2 years. I would suspect. He's got to get stronger. You can see that his body, maybe this year for off-season, the problem with their draft years, Tony, is that they're so busy with the combine, with the interviews, with the draft, with the development camps, with the summer camps, they don't get to do a full program of building muscle. And I think it's going to probably take one more summer for him.
That's where it helps when you're going to school in the States
that too.
compared to playing in other leagues in the CHL, because you play twice a week. You have a chance to spend 5 days in the gym if you want to.
Yep. No, and it'll help. I mean, he might be ready in a year. It'll depend on if he dominates college hockey this year, and Michigan does well, and he's prepared to come out, and he's put on some weight. We might see him next year, but I'd be thinking it'd be 2 years for him.
He's a little similar to Beck in a way that they're both centermen. They're both very, very smart players. They're both character players. But without a doubt, he's an upgrade on Owen Beck. With all due respect to Owen Beck, I mean, not only because of him being drafted at 21, and Owen Beck, I think, was drafted at 33, if memory serves me well, something like that. But also a little bit taller, better skater. He's notch above, right? Higher ceiling?
Probably. I think Beck's a better all-around player, better face-off man. I mean, it'll depend on what the coach is looking for. Do they want the guy with the little more high-end offense or the more reliable two-way guy? He's probably got a little more offensive upside than Beck, and if that's what the coach wants in whatever, whether it's second line center, third line center, or what have you, then perhaps you could say he's better than Beck. But it's a little early. I think it's a little early to make the call.
But in terms of ceiling, probably. Look, it's we're asking to project here, obviously, and so it's never an easy thing. But based on what we hear, and you tell me what you think, the ceiling for Hage could probably be second line center, and the ceiling for Beck could probably be third line center. Or you disagree with that, or?
Well, I think middle line center for both.
Yeah,
and I think it's still a little early to judge that, because again, it depends. Like Patrice Bergeron did not have huge offensive upside.
Yeah,
but this whole game was so good.
Yeah.
Right? He was a first-line center and a great one. Right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know if he ever had a season of 80 points. I think he had a couple of seasons in the 70s and some in the 60s and some in the 50s.
Yeah.
But yet,
And I mean, Beck's, I think, more rugged, better face-off man, better defensively, maybe competes a little more consistently. So,
I got you. He's got things going for him too, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not gonna, and I think Kapanen's in that discussion too. I mean, they're gonna have a pleasant problem down the road with those three, trying to sort out who's the best.
Yeah, Kapanen was much talked about earlier today with Rob Ramage as well. We'll try and get to that in a second. But speaking of Beck, one guy who's been spending a lot of time with him, we were told by Rob Ramage, is Paul Byron, who's joined the Montreal Canadiens development team, of course. So let's hear Rob Ramage on Paul Byron.
How important is that to your development team, and what makes him good at this new job that he has?
Wait, far out of the game. What a story. We picked him up on waivers, and this guy, found a way, had a good career, good solid career. He's very honest with young guys, which is great. He has their respect right off the hop, and he's a forward. Frankie and I think a little bit differently. I mean, as Terry Harper told me, never trust a forward. We're trusting Paul.
Sam Harris went to Denver, obviously won a national championship, scored 14 goals as a freshman.
Yep.
What did you think of his first year?
I went and saw him, I think it was early February. He was playing fourth line, kind of limited minutes. David Carl, who, we've had players in Denver for the last 10 years, so I know David, great coach, really good program. Liked him, just said, we got a really good team, and, he's going to have to find his way, because right now there's just, we're stacked. They got some injuries, and I didn't think I'd go back and see him. And he climbed the lineup and started scoring, so I went back and saw him play, and he had it was interesting. They played a home and home with Colorado College. They lost in Colorado Springs the first night. Sam had a few turnovers. I'm thinking, oh boy, he's going back to fourth line. David threw him back out there the next night, scored the game-winning goal. So great progression for him too. Oh yeah, he's got a little swagger too. He's a champion. Beck, we got a couple of them.
You were talking about Engstrom playing with Davidson and Roga. He was playing on the right side, mainly on his offside.
Yes.
So, do you think that the fact that he would come to North America on a smaller ice, he would still be a candidate to play on his offside, or the game being so different, he's more likely to be slotted back on the left?
Well, he has great feet. His mobility, his skating is exceptional. So he's certainly capable of doing it. Once again, can he make that adjustment? And we don't know. And until he gets on that North American ice on a consistent basis. But this guy is a competitor. He's hungry.
What impressed you watching Adam Nicholas running the drills out there?
Oh, I mean, hey,
he's the loudest guy.
He needs a little more energy, right? No. It seems that the young guys love it, and some stuff is a little bit outside the box, which is cool. This isn't just basic meat and potatoes hockey, and nor is the game anymore. So, big cat, as he's known, big voice.
Asked about Paul Byron, he says he's honest with the players and he commands immediate respect. And what a pickup for us. He says we picked him up on waivers, had a real good career, and now is having a real good post-career as well. And he's been spending a lot of time with Owen Beck. Then you asked about Sam Harris. For those who aren't familiar with him, talk to us about why you asked about this player in particular.
Well, first of all, I thought he stood out today. He was one of the better forwards, I thought. He's a guy that I admittedly didn't pay much attention to last year. I didn't have him in the top prospects of the Canadians then for most of the year. And then I looked at, look at his stats, and geez, he scored 14 goals like for Denver, the national champion as a freshman in college. So he had a solid first year, especially for a team that was the best in the country. For him to step in and score 14 goals as a freshman says a lot, especially for a late pick like that.
Yeah.
Says a lot for him. And we saw it out there today that, as Rammer said, like kid's got a lot of swag, and he's got a good shot, skates pretty well. He's a real thick kid. He's strong. I think he looks like a good pro prospect. I don't know if he's got NHL potential or not, but at the very least, will help out Laval down the road.
Then he was asked about Adam Engstrom, who's playing on the right side of the fence right now in Sweden. And he was asked, you think he'll be able to take that and bring it to the National Hockey League? And Ramage said, he's got really quick feet. He's got a real good defense partner. It's a real good program. We're really happy with how his development is coming around down there. But I can't really answer that question. We'll see when he gets here.
Yeah. Well, we saw him last year at camp.
And we loved him.
Yeah.
Right? It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were spoiled last year. We had Hudson, Mayu, Reinbacher, and Eggstrom, right? And I mean, it's not obviously near the same class this year on defense, but it's too bad he couldn't have, maybe been at the camp again, but he doesn't need to. He's ready for pro. And it'll be interesting to see who they end up putting on the right side. Like, who's going to go back? I think Barron's going to be on waiver eligible this year.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to get a spot, right?
You would think. You don't want to lose an asset for nothing.
No, unless they trade him.
Unless they trade him the same way they did with Kovacevic.
You're right.
And by the way, for those who didn't digest the trade of Kovacevic, folks, it's becoming a numbers game.
Yeah.
You want to rebuild, you're going to stock up on a lot of assets and a lot of draft picks and a lot of prospects and a lot of players. And at one point, you're going to be stuck with a lot of players, and some of them are going to have to play here. You're going to be stuck with decisions. And nobody wanted to see Jonathan Kovacevic go, but do you want your young players to be in Laval forever? At one point, you're going to have to make a spot for them on the big team. And that would have meant Kovacevic having to go on waivers, and you would have lost him for nothing.
Exactly.
So,
or Barron. And they don't want to lose Barron for nothing. You know, he was a big piece of the Lehkonen trade. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I wonder if that move was made more so for so that Barron doesn't go through waivers, or to give Mayu a spot out of camp. Yeah. Like, I think they're saying, okay, here's your chance, kid.
Yeah.
And if he has a great camp, I could see Mayu starting the year.
And Ramage admitted today that he was so happy when Reinbacher joined Laval last year at the end of the season. So I asked him at that point, I said, but then he had talked about the fact that Engstrom had done well in Sweden. And I said, well, so then are you saying ideally Laval over Europe? Ideally? Let's hear from Rob Ramage on that.
In your world, you'd always like to see him coming to Laval sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Engstrom was in the same boat, but they went to the championship in the SHL, so we don't mind that at all. He's playing with Brandon Davidson. We've talked about Engstrom's. He needs to improve his defensive play. Well, Brandon was a great pairing for him. It's kind of like a big brother.
A guy like Florian Xhekaj, what would it take for him to take the next step and maybe one day join his brother?
Yeah, he had a great season last year. Started off in the wing. They put him at center, and just took off. But he's got the big frame. I like his brother. He's 6'4". I think he's only weighing in at around 195, 197. Like, he's not going to be 240 like the big truck. But once again, like so many of these guys, the off ice right now is going to be really important, and he's going to grow into it. You know what? There's a lot to like about this guy.
Regarding the 15 tryout guys that he invited, just how much can you evaluate them in such a short window? Much out of it, or not really?
I'm not that. We've got our scouts here, and you try to do what you can, because they get 2 days on the ice and then a scrimmage tomorrow. So they're great. You know what? We're here on Monday when they all came in, and you can see how excited the Montreal Canadiens development camp. It's really kind of cool to see.
I know Bob Rob described Florian as a unicorn when he got drafted. Were you surprised by the offensive explosion he had last season?
Yeah, absolutely. He had a good rookie tournament. He scored, I think, in the red-white game, but that wasn't what we actually drafted him as. And then 35 goals, something like that. I got to see him quite a bit this season, and very responsible though. Like, his hockey sense was way better, I think, than everyone anticipated, and he's still raw. So it's like I said, very excited about him.
Xhekaj, Florian, that is, Arbor's younger brother, very responsible.
Yeah.
Very impressive. They want to see him bulk up, put on some weight, put on some muscle.
Yeah.
He's not going to hit 240, he says, like his older brother, the truck, but he surprised a lot of people by the type of a season that he had, and a little bit of, I wouldn't call him a late bloomer because he's still young, but no one really saw what he saw, that he had the potential to do this a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And so over the last couple of years here, he's getting better and better, slowly but surely. And of course, we've talked about that. Bob Roth calls him a unicorn, but I like Xhekaj on the ice.
Yeah.
Good presence.
Yeah. Well, just like his older brother,
Yeah.
A bit of a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Really. And defying the odds, both of them. And it's great. I thought he was a great addition. And they also, it's interesting that this year that they added Merrill and the big kid Thorpe.
Yeah.
Who both Merrill's skating. I did a clip. I did a story earlier in the week, and unfortunately the only clips that I had from his St. Sebastian High School dated back to like December, and his skating was not very good at that point. Like, I was looking at it, and a few people commented on it, and it wasn't very good, but it must have improved as the season went on. Because his skating's not great by any means, but it looked a lot better than it did at that point. So, he in tight there, his hands were pretty good. He checked the puck off guys a few times, made a few moves. I didn't think he was that bad. But Thorpe especially impressed me today.
Yeah.
I think he was a good pick in the 5th round. He skates well for a 6'5" kid.
And there you have Rob Ramage basically saying, ideally Laval over Europe. So for most of their kids that are in Europe, but there are some kids who are evolving really well. For example, he was asked about Kapanen and said that Kapanen's going to be playing for Olli Jokinen. And he was talking about how well Kapanen has been doing, and every single challenge that they put in front of Kapanen, like teams were saying, don't expect us to use this guy or don't expect him to make those things. And Kapanen keeps on doing really, really well in that environment.
Well, I mean, he's coming to camp, right?
Yeah.
I think he'll push for a spot. I really do. I don't know that he's heading back. We'll see, but I think he's ahead of Beck and Hage at this point.
Well, we saw how good he was at the World Championships.
Well,
and that usually doesn't lie.
No, and he was maybe the best player in the League of Playoffs too. So, I mean, he's close to being ready. So I'd be interested. I don't know if he'll be at the rookie tournament. Probably.
You think a lot of it depends on Dvorak, who's in the final year of his contract?
Yeah.
Whether or not Dvorak's traded in the summer here.
Yeah, or Evans, either one.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I think he's better than both. He will be better than both.
Yeah.
Now, whether he is right now or not is going to be the question. But if he outplays them both in camp, it's going to be tough to send him back.
Yeah. So that's the way I see it. If Dvorak gets traded this summer, it's because they're thinking of putting this guy on the team right away.
Yeah. Well, that might be why they wait, right?
Yeah.
And maybe even at the end of camp, if Kapanen's won a spot. I mean, there's always going to be teams looking for a good face-off man, two-way, defensively responsible player like Dvorak or Evans. Maybe one of those two gets dealt at the end of camp if Kapanen makes the team.
A couple of days ago, the Canadians announced that Alex Burrows would now be stepping down from his assistant coaching position and be a consultant within the organization, a consultant to the management team, and a consultant to the coaching staff as well. And they also added a member in the player development department, but going to be based out of Sweden, in particular, out of Europe, in particular out of Finland.
Yeah.
And that is former NHLer Lauri Korpikoski. I know you asked about him. Let's hear what Rob Ramage had to say.
Yeah, we'll see. That's what training camp's all about, the rookie tournament and then get into training camp. So he's certainly trending that way.
With the hiring of Korpikoski there in Europe, is you going to be taking less trips to Europe next year?
Well, we'll see, but what a great pickup for us. I think that was on Monday, a big free agent signing, getting Lauri on board. But, he's he lives in Turku, where Koivu is, so perfect. It's going to work out really well.
What's
the
cap hit?
Yeah, well, we haven't disclosed terms yet.
Seeing Owen Beck the other day, he physically looks like an NHL player.
Yeah.
Like you can see the difference from a couple of years ago. Where has he made the biggest progress, do you think? And do you think he's ready, to compete for a spot this season?
Well, that's what he's coming in with that mindset, and his camp last year probably wasn't as good as his rookie camp. And Paul Byron, we put Paul on him, and Owen embraced everything Paul threw at him, and his game just took off. So I think the habits is what stands out the most for me. And the determination, like he goes to Saginaw, he went to win, and he did. He won the World Cup. So you don't mind seeing, Reinbacher's case too, going through a little adversity at this point, because they're going to face it again. It's how you respond and react to it, and Owen did that. I mean, his first 10 games in Peterborough were really, really tough.
Are you getting signs that the offense is going to translate to the next level? Because I think that was always the question mark a little bit. So over the last 2 years, do you?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's, once again, as a coach, you always like some offense, but you got to be able to play the 200-foot game to get an opportunity to have that offense, and he has that. He's a very smart young man. He's going to figure it out. He has kind of figured it out to a certain extent.
All right, so there you have it. Asked about Lauri Korpikoski. He says, what a great pickup for us. He's going to help us a lot. He's going to be based out of Turku. That's where Koivu's from. And so, I mean, that works out really well. Obviously, he's going to be able to have an eye on Atos and help him with his development. Then he was asked about Owen Beck, who's been bulking up, who looks like he's got NHL size this year when he didn't a year ago. And he said, yeah, you know what? Paul Byron's been all over him, and everything that he's thrown at him, he's actually embraced. And he says, a really, really smart kid. He was asked if his offense is going to be able to translate the National Hockey League level. He says, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But you have to be able to play the 200-foot game. And he says, you know what? This kid was able to battle through adversity. First 10 games or so with Peter, they weren't very good. And then all of a sudden, there's that deal. He goes to Saginaw. He embraces it. He wants to be the difference maker there. And you know what? He ends up doing everything that was asked of Saginaw. He's a champion. And you could tell that Rob Ramage, pretty high on Owen Beck.
Yeah. I've had the pleasure of interviewing Rob a couple times, like in length. And he loves the kid. He thinks he's going to be a good NHL pro.
He's an honest player.
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, his floor is sky high. He's going to play.
Yeah.
It's just a question of, you know.
He'll be on the ice with a minute left in the game when his team is preserving a one goal lead.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
He'll be a penalty killer.
Yeah. Face-off guy, penalty killer, help you win playoff games.
Yeah. And sometimes when you put two centermen on the ice in the final minute, he'll be on, of course, and he'll be one of them. All right, okay. Speaking of Owen Beck, we've been talking about him. He says he's ready. Let's hear from him.
So can I ask about your expectations for this coming season?
Yeah, I mean, just coming into next camp, regardless of where I'm going to be playing pro hockey. So my mindset is just to prepare myself for that as best I can. Come into the camp and just show what I can provide to either the Canadians or the Laval Rockets. So yeah, just grow my.
Coming to camp, I'm going to show what I could provide, whether it's Laval or Montreal. I'm ready to show what I can do. I know either way, I'm going to be playing pro hockey.
Yeah. Oh, he's a pro. The kid won the CHL Scholastic Player of the Year, and every time you hear him talk, you can tell just how intelligent he is. He's a very smart player.
No use in skipping a step, though, right? In his development, I mean, it's not like the Canadians are in any rush. I know that a lot of people want to see the Canadians take the next step, but not at the,
No, I think he's he's destined for Laval, and that's fine.
Not at the expense of players' development, right? I mean, it would be a good step. You did it at the junior level, you did it at the Memorial Cup. Show me now what you can do at the American Hockey League level.
Hopefully, Calder Cup. Right.
And then once you're able to dominate that level, that's the sign after that you're ready for the National Hockey League.
The Canadians are finally at the point, I think, that they have enough in the system where a 33rd overall pick can go to the AHL for a year, develop. There's no rush to bring them up.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a few kids there that maybe on some teams, some weaker teams would be playing in the NHL this year. And they're following the Detroit model in that sense, I think. Back in the day, remember when they let kids percolate in the system for a few years, bring them up when they're really ready, truly ready, and plug them right in to help them win at playoff time.
It started with Jimmy DeVillano as a general manager, if memory serves me well. And then from there, it went to Ken Holland.
Yep.
And then from Ken Holland, it went to Steve Yzerman. And from Steve Yzerman, it went to Jim Nill. And it was what? It was kind of like rule of thumb. It was 3 years in the American Hockey League or 250 games type of thing.
Yeah.
And it worked out for them, right? Worked out for them really well. Florian Xhekaj. There's a couple of clips from Florian. Let's hear from him.
I wasn't sure I had media, so.
What was behind your little delay to the start of camp?
Oh, I just had to run some tests just to make sure everything's fine. It was just nothing really. I was out there after the first session. I was out there, so everything's good.
And this is your second one of these camps. I'm just curious how what's the process for you ingesting all the information they're giving you, and what's your kind of take on the priorities that they're trying to get put through to you?
Yeah, obviously it's my second year, so I'm a little more comfortable here, and I'm just trying to let the younger guys know what to do and just be a good role model for them, and I feel super confident out there.
How do you explain your surge in goal scoring last season? Rob Ramage, he was a little bit surprised that wasn't what they looked for when they drafted.
Yeah, and shot is just and I just capitalized on it, and pucks were going in.
How do you think you improved the most last season, taking away the stats just in general?
I think I just got bigger, stronger, more confident in the OHL, confident as a person, off the ice. That helped a lot, and I think just confidence with the puck, handling the puck, shooting, everything. Yeah.
What kind of feedback does the staff give a player after a week like this? Rob was saying that it takes a meeting. So what kind of goals and
Yeah, they'll just let you know like what you need to work on for the summer and what their expectations are of you. But usually we have a pretty good idea on what they want to see out of you, and yeah, be ready for main camp usually.
You feel it's more physical stuff, like conditioning, or can they focus on also skills things?
Yeah, I mean it's everything. They're obviously watching everything we do, so they know how we play, and yeah, they know what we need to do to get to the next level.
There you have it. Florian Xhekaj, who says the second year, I know what to expect. A little bit of delay, me getting to camp. Had to run some tests. I think he was fighting a cold, by the way, for the amount of times that he was. It just looked like he had a runny nose there. But asked how to explain the success they had. Got bigger, got stronger, confidence increased. We talked about a little bit of a late bloomer, right? But sometimes you have those seasons where just everything comes together. You get bigger, you get stronger, and you're feeling it. And he felt it this past season.
Yeah, he had a great year in Bradford, and I wasn't sure I was expecting that kind of offensive jump from him this year. He showed that he could be a first line center in the OHL. After he was 2 years ago. Just it's a similar story to his brother. Kind of came out of nowhere and just bloomed late, a year later than most, and the sky's the limit for him. I think he's really got fourth line, whether it's winger or probably wing, fourth line winger or center, NHL, big kid that can play with some grit, that can give some energy, but also is capable of scoring some goals. And Montreal has needed a fourth line. When's the last time they had a really effective fourth line, Tony, that could score goals? Like if you look at the stats,
Strulin, McPhee, and Claude Lemieux.
And what did the team do?
They won the cup.
Wow. So
it's probably not the last time they had a really good fourth line, by the way. But every time we talk about Canadians' fourth lines, it's the first thing that pops to my head. I mean, that was a really, Mike McPhee was one guy that could play fourth line, and then all of a sudden he could play third, and then he'd end up scoring a goal that was kind of like a highlight reel goal that, guys who usually play on first lines would actually score type of thing. So that was a really, really good line. And Claude Lemieux, we all remember the playoffs he had in 86. But are you, in ending here, we talked about it before. There were some big names that were at camp last year. Are you at all concerned that the names that are at camp are not the names that we saw a year ago, and the talent on the ice is
No, I mean, a lot of them could have been here.
They could have been. That's right. They're going to be at pro camp instead.
That's right. And, Demidov obviously not being there, Koivu, if those guys would have showed up, it'd been a lot more.
And Kapanen, like you talked about, is going to pro camp.
Yeah, I know there's a pile of them missing that could have been there. And I think it'll be interesting to see what the rookie tournament, who all shows up for that, because Toronto's going to have their hands full. Like they're coming to play here for 2. I looked at their roster for their development camp.
Yeah.
Like if Montreal loads up, it's gonna be tough slugging for the Leaf process.
I'm telling you, the Canadians are building it slowly but surely, man. There were a lot of people that weren't in on this rebuild, and now they see it coming together. By the way, I have to say this, long overdue, but if you're one of those people who didn't want the rebuild, who didn't like the rebuild, and actually got mad at me for talking about the rebuild, you can't be doing the one-man wave or cheering and parading now that they got Demidov. It doesn't work that way, okay? Because if you wanted to win all those games, well, you're not going to get Demidov. And they got Demidov because, a big reason why is because because Kirby Dach got hurt.
Yeah.
And Phoenix won, and Arizona won their last game of the season.
Yeah,
it's a big reason why they got Demidov. And sometimes you have to be lucky in a rebuild. And I know it really sucked for Kirby Dach. It really did. But if Kirby Dach's there and he's healthy, you'd have to think that the Montreal Canadiens pick up a win and a half more on average per month. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so.
And if that's the case, you don't finish fifth last. You're not getting Demidov.
They don't even get a Ginla, probably.
They probably don't even get a Ginla. So, I think they're doing it the right way, and you need to get a little bit lucky too. And I think they did get lucky with Demidov, and I can't wait. Look, Snake Boisvert said to me a couple of weeks ago that if they were going to draft Trevor Connolly, that he was going to buy season tickets. Well, I'm going to get season tickets now that they have Ivan Demidov starting in the 2025 season. Look, I can't go every game because I host a sick podcast from Monday to Thursday, and maybe even going forward, maybe even more than that. at 10 p.m. So I can't go to the game. I can go on the weekends, but I don't also want to go every Saturday, to tell you the truth, either, because, there's sometimes some Saturdays you got family engagements, right? You want to go out, but I think I'm going to be part of a consortium of 4 or 5 people that instead of buying a hockey team, there's sometimes a consortium of 4 or 5 people buy a hockey team. I think I'm going to be part of a consortium of 4 or 5 people that are going to buy a pair of season tickets.
Excellent.
And I'll get most of the Saturday night games. I think that's the way it's going to go down. Grant, thanks for coming down. It was good to see you. And I know that you're going to be at development camp tomorrow as well. And tomorrow we are going to be at Winnie's. And you're going to be there?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, okay. You don't know. But I'll be there. I can tell you that, all right?
I'm going to go to the scrimmage tomorrow, and I may head home right after that.
Okay. Well, if you're in the mood for a pint, of course, you could come down to Winnie's, and we'll host you. Live podcaster Winston Churchill tomorrow, July 5th, Friday, July 5th. And of course, they're on Crescent Street in downtown Montreal. We'll see you there. Tomorrow's a big day for Euro 2024 action. And it all gets started with the first game at noon, which is a game between Spain and Germany. So I'm going to be there for noon or by noon to watch that game between Spain and Germany. And then right after the game, give or take at around 2:00, a live podcast from Winnie's. All right. And once again, you're going to be at Habs development camp. So enjoy the camp. And I would imagine that you and Shane Gaumont are going to be having a podcast over the next day or so to talk about the camp as well. When's that going to take place?
Well, it'll either be tomorrow night or Saturday. We're not exact. We haven't got it all ironed out yet.
Yeah.
If I go to Winnie's, we'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
If I don't, it may not be till Saturday.
If you haven't followed the Recruits Draftcast podcast up until now, it is the Recruits Draftcast podcast with Grant McCagg and with Shane Gaumont. And of course, follow recruits.ca for all of your information that you're going to need on all the prospects around the entire world, especially Montreal Canadiens prospects, interviews, articles, scouting reports, and all that great stuff. Only the way Grant knows how to do it. Was it an 82-page draft guide that you had out? Was it 82 pages?
82.
That's a lot of work. How long did that take you?
Oh, almost 2 months.
Almost 2 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, an 82-page draft guide would take me 2 years, but that's the reason why he writes and I don't. Special thanks to everyone watching, Energy Transportation Group, Playground, Bittt Tibi, and of course, Betway for sponsoring the Sick Podcast. For Shane Gaumont and Jimmy from the Foulam Restaurant at Master Control, he's Grant McCagg. I'm Marinaro. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget, leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love. Ciao for now.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. Tibi, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.